a review of the shoulder. We're going to begin with the shoulder girdle. So going down the medial side of the scapula and the lateral side. Right at the end of the point is the inferior angle. Go up the medial side of the scapula to the top. That is superior scapula. On the inside towards the spine, on the medial border of the scapula. Go to this side, the lateral side, and down that border is the lateral side of the scapula. Next, we're going to do the acromion process. Go laterally out of the shoulder, and it's going to be the point right on the top of the shoulder. Next is the spine of the scapula. It's going to connect the lateral side of the scapula to the acromion process and go medial and run straight through there. Next one to the shoulder, we're going to do the greater tubercle, which is laterally down and then a little inferior from the acromion process. To find the lesser tubercle, you go medial and we're right there. For deltoid tuberosity, it's going to be on the lateral side of the arm, on the medial part of the humerus, and right there in the ridge. I'll get my cheat sheet for the shoulder girdle muscles, beginning with the upper traps, which prime mover is scapular elevation. The origin is going to be on the spinaeus process, C7. The insertion is on the lateral 2/3 of the clavicle, the acromion process, and on the spine of the scapula. Moving to the lower traps. This may move to scapular depression. The origin, you're going to begin about the armpit and down to about the middle back, and that's on the spinaeus process T6 to T12. The insertion is going to be on the spine of the scapula. Next is the rhomboids. Its prime mover is scapular retraction. The insertion or origin is from about T12 to T5. And it's going to insert on the medial border. Next is the serratus anterior. It's prime mover scapular protraction. The origin is going to be on the lateral. Where's it from? First 8 ribs. The insertion is going to be on the anterior surface of the medial border of the scapula. So the medial border and on the front side. Next, move to the shoulder. And then anterior deltoid. Insertion. Or excuse me. Origin is on the lateral 2/3 of the clavicle. And insertion is on the deltoid tuberosity. Next, move to the medial deltoid. It's going to begin on the acromion process and insert on the deltoid tuberosity. Going to the back deltoid, the posterior deltoid, its prime mover is shoulder extension. The origin is going to be on the spine of the scapula, and the insertion on the deltoid tuberosity. Next, we have the supraspinatus, which prime mover is shoulder adduction. Its origin is on the supraspinatus fossa. We locate the supraspinatus, and it's an area right here. The insertion is on the greater tubercle. Now to the infraspinatus, which prime mover is lateral rotation. The origin is on the infraspinatus fossa. So the lower part. Insertion is on the greater tubercle. Next, we have the teres minor, which prime mover is lateral rotation. The origin is on the lateral border of the scapula. The insertion on the greater tubercle. Next is the subscapularis, which prime mover is medial rotation. The origin is on the anterior surface of the scapula, which is inside in the subscapular fossa. So you can palpate this by raising your arm, going through the armpit. The insertion is on the lesser tubercle. It's medial to the greater tubercle. And last is latissimus dorsi, which prime mover is shoulder extension. The origin is on the spinous process, from T7, right here, all the way down to right above your hip bone, and it inserts on the bicipital groove.